Hey everybody, my name is Matt and I worked for the Social Security Administration for many years. I was a technical expert there, and now I've done this channel to help you through the Social Security process, and I'm trying to simplify things because you all have so many of the same common questions, legitimate questions, but just need somebody to kind of help you through it, I'm sure. Nobody really thinks about Social Security until they get ready to file for Social Security. So in this video, I want to tell you how spouses benefits work so that you kind of know what to expect when you go to file for your Social Security. So the first thing that needs to happen is, in order to qualify for spouses benefits, is you have to be married, obviously. So if you are divorced and you're looking at filing for divorce spouse benefits, then I've done another video on that one. The requirements are mostly the same, but a few quirks with divorce spouse benefits because you can file on any of your prior spouses as long as you met the length requirement. But for spouses benefits, you have to be currently married, and you can only file on your current spouse's record. You cannot file on another spouse's record, a prior spouse's record, if you are currently married, only on the current spouse. 2, you have to be age 62 to qualify for spouse benefits, and your spouse has to be on benefits, meaning your spouse has already claimed his benefit. Now I use the term his because the vast majority of the cases, wife is filing as a spouse on the husband's record. But that brings me to number 3, and let's just use the term here, sex doesn't matter. So a husband could file on his wife's record, and a wife could file on her husband's record, husband on husband's record, wife on wife's record. Okay, none of that matters. As long as you're currently married, then you could potentially qualify for spouse benefits. Number 4, there's generally speaking not a length of marriage requirement when it comes to spouse benefits. Technically, there's a 1 year requirement. 1 year. Have to be married for at least a year to qualify. It's really rare that it comes down to that, but I guess I need to bring it up because you have to be married to your current spouse for at least a year to qualify. So you have to be married, you have to be 62, spouse has to be on benefits, sex doesn't matter, you have to be married for at least a year. The 5th thing is the thing that is really what prevents most people from claiming spouse benefits, and that is we're going to do a PIA comparison. Okay, so what PIA is, let's go over here on our board. PIA stands for Primary Insurance Amount. This is the same as your benefit at full retirement age. How do you know what this is? Well, if you can pull your Social Security statement from socialsecurity.gov, you have to go on there and set up an account, and you click on your Social Security statement. It'll tell you what your benefit is at your full retirement age. Sometimes that gets abbreviated to FRA, full retirement age. On the Social Security statement, it doesn't use the term PIA, I don't believe. It uses the term just what is your benefit at your full retirement age. But that's the same. They are the same amount. If you take your benefit earlier than FRA, it goes down. But the PIA is still the same. The PIA is what your benefit would be at FRA. So you have to get that number for yourself and for your spouse, the PIA amount. So what they would do is compare half of your husband's PIA or your spouse's PIA versus all of your own PIA. Okay, so we're going to take, Social Security is going to take your husband's PIA, divide that by 2. And then they're going to take your PIA. If your PIA is lower than his, then you're going to qualify for spouse benefits. If it's higher than half of his, then you are not going to qualify for spouse benefits. You will only get your own benefit. Okay, so that helps you out with how you qualify. Now again, I have to emphasize here because people just have a hard time with the terms here, but the primary insurance amount, the PIA, is what he would get at full retirement age. It is not necessarily what he is receiving from Social Security right now. If he took his benefit early, then he's getting less than his PIA. Doesn't matter. For spouse benefits, we're looking at half of his PIA versus your PIA. Okay, now once we get those numbers, how does it work? Well, let's say, let's go over here. Let's say his, well, we'll do it right here. Let's say his PIA is $2,000 per month. And yours is $800 per month. That's what he would get at full retirement age. That's what you would get at full retirement age. So we divide his by 2, and obviously that's $1,000 a month. Since yours is less than half of his, then you would qualify for spouse benefits. How does it work? They would pay you $800 a month on his, on yours, $800 a month on yours, $200 a month on his. And it would total that $1,000 a month. So they always pay you on your own record first. They must pay you the $800 a month on your own record, and then they're going to borrow from his record to make up to get to the 50%. Now, they're not actually going to take away from his benefit. Okay, this is just, they're not going to lower his own benefit, right? It's not going to affect his benefit. So now these numbers are if you waited till full retirement age, because remember the PIA is the full retirement amount. So if you waited till your full retirement age, you'd get $800 on yours and $200 a month on his. But if you took it early than that, each of these are going to be reduced independently of each other, and then they'll be merged back up. So the 800 might go down to 600, 200 might go down to 150, whatever, and then they would combine those into one payment. So another important thing to understand as a spouse is your payment will be combined into one payment, even if you're getting from yours and from his. And that's a common, so here's the most common scenario I got when I worked at Social Security. Somebody would be like 70 years old. They've already been collecting Social Security for a few years or more. Usually they started at 62 actually. And then they call me and say, hey, how come I'm not getting half of my spouse's benefit? I get all grumpy. A very common phone call I'd receive. How come I'm not getting half of my spouse's benefit? And I tried to explain this to them, but of course they were pretty upset from the get-go. For some reason, they'd already determined I was the enemy. And so a lot of times they just wouldn't listen to it. But what I would have to explain to them is, essentially it came down to the fact that you took your benefit early. Because you took your benefit early, it got reduced. But you are collecting from your own and from his record. So that common scenario would come up, say, if the husband waited till full retirement age and he was getting his full $2,000, and the wife took her benefit early and she was getting a reduced rate underneath the $1,000, and she said, hey, how come I'm not getting half of my husband's benefit? Now the next logical question would be, how many times does this slip through the cracks? Is this something you need to be concerned about, where Social Security messed up and you didn't get this spouse portion on your benefit? The answer to that is it's really rare. It's very rare for that to happen, because when you file for your claim, if your husband's already on the benefit, they are going to automatically take that. In fact, you don't have a choice. There's no choice. This is an important thing to understand here. There's no choice in this. You don't say, well, I want mine or I want his or whatever. It doesn't work that way. When you file for Social Security, you file for what you're eligible for. And they must pay you both benefits. They must pay you both benefits. So if you file and your husband's already on and they determine that your benefit is low enough, they have to take an application on his record as well, and then they'll merge your benefits up. Now, let's say you file before your husband files. Well, they can only pay you your benefit amount. The spouse benefit amount is going to have to wait until he files, because remember, he has to be on benefits for you to claim that. So if that happens, then where they catch that is when he signs up. So when he signs up for his benefit, they'll see that he's married, and they'll look at your record and they'll go, oh, you're also eligible for some money on his record, and you actually have to file for that application. If you don't file and you waited for years and years, they would actually have to take your benefit all the way back to the time that your husband filed. So they have this thing called deemed filing, which means as soon as he signs up, if you were already on the benefit, then you are eligible at that point and you must take it. It's kind of the rules there. There's only one exception to that rule, and that was if you were born before 1954. It's pretty rare now. Pretty much just about everybody born before 1954 has filed, but I guess it's still possible. There still are a few people out there who haven't filed yet. But if you were born before 54, then it gets a little quirkier. You really should leave a comment and talk to me, and we could maybe work out a consultation or something like that, or call your Social Security office and find out what your options are. But that's only if you haven't filed yet and you were born before 1954. Okay, so this is generally how it works. I've talked about how you can be eligible and then how the benefit amount works in general with an example here. I hope it helped you out. Please let me know in the remarks if this made any sense or not. And let me know if you have questions. I can't always respond to the questions, but it helps me know whether I'm doing a good job explaining it and then how to proceed in the future. So if you got some value out of this, please click that subscribe button so you stay up to date on my videos. Thanks.